lateral rotators. We've got 6 of those muscles, and giving us a nice peachy bottom ready for the festive season. So it's up to you what you want to do in terms of your upper body. So you can lay your arm down. This is how we would classically do the exercise in class. So you want to get your spine long, and then, or lengthen your spine, lengthen the legs out straight. Look down, make sure you can see your toes, and then bring your knees forward. So then your feet are in line with your bottom and your spine, and your knees are forward of your mat, and your feet are back of your mat. And then I wouldn't have this position, it's not great for the neck. So you can lengthen the arm down, palm up, doesn't matter. Just find the most comfortable position. Probably palm up is slightly better, it doesn't restrict the shoulder joint quite so much. And then free arm is going to be down. If I do this as a start position, we're going to press the feet together, and you're going to exhale as you float your top knee off, and then inhale as you lower it back down. So exhale to lift, inhale as you lower. As always, thinking about wrapping those abdominals, drawing the belly button back towards the spine, pulling up through the pelvic floor. And what we're thinking about is this part of your hip here. So you want the top of your hip to stay still and the hips to stay level. So your hip bones are stacked one on top of the other. What we don't want to happen is this rolling back movement, because then we miss the work in the right muscles and it doesn't achieve anything if we let the pelvis roll back. So when you're moving, don't worry so much about how high the knee's lifting. Focus more about how still and stable the pelvis can be. So I quite often, if I was doing this exercise myself, would have my hand here on my hip just as a bit of feedback, just so I can have a bit more body awareness of what's going on when I move. Now, if you want to work a little bit harder, then what we can do, just like we did on the other exercise earlier in the week, is bring the shoulder up so that the elbow is then underneath the shoulder. That's really important. Just make sure your elbow isn't off from the shoulder, so it's directly underneath. Forearm forward, and then we're going to think as we were in the previous video, rather than sinking down into the ear to the shoulder, we're going to lift up and out. So then we're working through the upper body, hand down on the mat or hand on top of your legs, whichever you prefer. So exhale to lift, inhale to lower, lifting up out of that shoulder, really good for upper body. So building your upper body strength. If you know you really suffer with tension around the shoulders and things, I would suggest to not stay up in this lifted position for too long. So maybe alternate between the 2 different positions. So if you'd like to make this more difficult, float your feet off. Both feet in the air, then same exercise. So more challenging, less body parts in contact with the mat. Press into your feet. Exhale to lift, inhale to lower. Thinking about your pelvic stability, wrapping the abdominals, pulling up through the pelvic floor. Very normal to start to feel this around the side of the bottom. This will be a brilliant one to add on to our video earlier in the week when it was our side lying with the optional ball under the side of the waist, and that will give you a lovely side lying workout, quite a good challenge. So we're nearly there, and then what we're going to do is the final part of this is add a reach of that top leg. So you're going to separate the legs, point your top leg as you straighten that top leg out, reattach your feet, heels and toes together, and then pop the knee down. So exhale to lift, inhale to reach, exhale to toe tap down, inhale lower. We're nearly there. We're just doing 4 of these. Again, we're really thinking about that pelvic stability, trying to keep those hip bones as still as we can so the movement comes from the top of your leg, top of your femur, lower down. Well done. Take a rest, draw that knee in for a moment, have a bit of a stretch, and then we're good to switch straight over to the other side. So we're going to whiz ourselves around again, same thing. Feel free to choose your option with your arms. Knees are forward of your back, feet are back. Joints are stacked, ankles, knees, hips. Exhale to lift, inhale to lower. So exhale, lift and reach, inhale to lower. Keep scooping the abdominals, drawing up through the pelvic floor. Upper body relaxed. Now if you're in this laid down position, just be mindful that your shoulders are also stacked one on top of the other, and your shoulders not kind of rounding, rolling forward. Press that supporting arm down to the floor, and that will help to keep that top shoulder facing the ceiling rather than rounding forward and collapsing. So pressing into the feet as you lift, slowly lower. Exhale to lift, inhale to lower. And then you've got the option, if you'd like to slowly lift yourself up so you're resting on the elbow. Same thing again, lift and lower. Exhale to lift, inhale to lower. Nearly there. Keep scooping the abdominals, lifting up out of that shoulder, some space between your ear and your shoulder as you lift and lower. Last one coming up, and then we're going to float the feet off. So feet in the air, press those feet together as you lift. Now it's really normal to have maybe one side that you feel is a little bit easier, maybe you're starting to feel a bit tired now just because you've got one tired side of the body. That's normal. It's also normal to feel a surge of muscles here on the side of the glutes. We're working the outside of the hip muscles and these lateral rotator muscles of the hip. They're quite underused muscles, so it's quite normal to start to feel the burn. But of course you can pause this video, take a rest if you need to. Last one coming up, keep scooping the abdominals, holding onto the pelvic floor. We're going to float the leg up, do that leg extension. So reach, point the toe, reattach your feet together, toe tap your knee down, lift, reach and extend. Reattach, probably really starting to feel this. I know I am. So we're going to lift now. Really think about your quadriceps working as they pull the kneecap up to straighten the leg. Lower back down. Last one. This will give you a lovely peachy pelt posterior, as I like to call it, all ready for the party season. Hug that knee forward, and then a lovely stretch just to finish off when you're done is just to hug the knees in towards the chest. Maybe cross your ankles. Have a little rock, gentle side to side. And then if you are crossing the ankles, recross the other side, hug the knees in, gentle rock, side to side, and then just take a few moments to keep pressing your toes together, big toes especially, and just circling those knees around. And you can do that in both directions. And that's a little lumbar release. It's nice for the low back, and also that helps to just loosen up those muscles that we've just been working on the outside part of the pelvis. So good set of exercises, side lying, really good for working the muscles on the outside part of the pelvis, strengthen the abdominals and just giving us a challenge in a different way. There you are. Well done, see you soon.